Ever wish you could pick fresh fruit even when it's snowing outside? Or maybe you've got no garden at all, just a balcony and a few pots. Well, today I'll show you 15 cold-hardy fruit trees that not only survive freezing temperatures, but actually thrive in them. So yeah, fruit all year long, even in small spaces. But first, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, because every week I drop free fruit growing hacks you won't find anywhere else. And comment your USDA zone below. I read every single one. Let's grow together. Now, this isn't just another list you'll scroll through and forget. I've tested these trees myself, the ones that thrive through heavy snow, cold winds, and crazy temperature swings. These are proven survivors that can handle minus 30, even minus 40 degrees without blinking. And the best part? You don't need a huge backyard or fancy greenhouse. With the right pot, some sunlight, and a little care, you can grow fruit almost anywhere, on your balcony, patio, or even by your window. So if you've ever thought cold weather meant giving up on fruit trees, stick around. You're about to see that's not true. Oh, and make sure you watch till the end, because I've got a surprise bonus fruit that'll blow your mind, one you probably never imagined could grow in cool climates. Let's start with the cold champion itself, the apple tree. Honestly, if fruit trees had a survival contest, apples would win hands down. These hardy beauties can take temperatures as low as minus 35 degrees and still bounce back with full blossoms in spring. There are over 7,000 varieties of apples out there. But here's the cool part. You can actually graft several types onto a single tree. That means one tree can give you a mix of sweet, tart, and crisp apples all at once. It's like having an orchard growing out of a single pot. Now, if you're short on space, look for dwarf or semi-dwarf rootstocks, something like M26 or M27. They stay compact, produce faster, and are perfect for containers. Just make sure your pot is sturdy, at least 20 inches wide and deep, to give those roots room to breathe and anchor. And if you live in a zone between 3 and 8, you're in luck. These trees were practically made for your weather. Apples love the chill. It's part of what gives them that rich, balanced flavor. Once you've got your first blossoms and you see that little fruit forming, trust me, it's one of the most satisfying sights you'll ever get in a garden. There's something special about growing a fruit most people think needs acres of land right from your own balcony. Next up, the pear tree, one of my personal favorites for small gardens in colder regions. Pears might look delicate, but don't let that fool you. Varieties like Luscious and Ure can handle cold snaps that drop below freezing without blinking. And the best part? Pears are incredibly versatile. You can enjoy them fresh, sliced with cheese, or preserved as jams and compotes that'll make your whole kitchen smell amazing. If you're growing pears in pots, go for a sunny spot and keep the soil slightly moist but not soaked. They love good drainage. And here's a pro tip. Even if your variety says it's self-fertile, plant at least 2 different kinds nearby. You'll get bigger harvests, better-shaped fruits, and stronger trees thanks to cross-pollination. Now, pears are patient growers. They take their time, but once they settle in, they reward you for years. In early spring, you'll see those delicate white blossoms open up, even when frost still bites the air. It's honestly one of the prettiest sights in any garden. So, if you're looking for a fruit tree that's both graceful and reliable, pears deserve a spot in your cold climate collection. Now, this one always surprises people. The peach tree. Most folks think peaches belong only in sunny southern orchards, but a few special varieties laugh in the face of frost. Late bloomers like Reliance and Contender wait until the worst of winter is gone before showing their flowers, which is exactly what saves them from frostbite. I still remember the first time I saw a peach tree blooming while snow was melting around the pot. It looked like spring had decided to show up early just for that one plant. A few months later, there they were, small fuzzy fruits turning that perfect sunset orange. If you're growing yours in a container, choose a big one, something at least 20 inches wide, and keep it where it can soak up morning sun. When cold weather rolls back in, wrap the pot with straw or bubble insulation to keep the roots cozy. Think of it as tucking your tree in for winter. Peaches are proof that patience pays off. Give them care, and they'll reward you with fruit that tastes like summer, even after a freezing night. Next up, meet the pie maker's best friend, the Tart cherry tree.
If you love baking, this one's going to be your favorite. Varieties like Montmorency and North Star are tough little powerhouses that can handle temperatures down to minus 35 degrees without breaking a sweat. They bloom beautifully, giving you delicate white petals in spring and bright red cherries later in the season. The flavor? Sharp, tangy, and perfect for jams, tarts, or that classic cherry pie that never lasts more than a day in my house. The great thing about tart cherries is that they're self-fertile. You only need one tree to start harvesting. That means less space, less fuss, and more fruit. And here's my favorite part. Every time someone tells me you can't grow cherries in cold regions, I point at my little North Star tree in the pot and say, if you love pie, this tree's your best friend. Because honestly, it is. All right, let's talk about sweet cherries, the jewels of any small garden. If you've ever tasted a sun-warmed cherry straight off the tree, you know it's pure happiness in one bite. The good news, you don't need a big orchard to get that experience. Varieties like Stella and Lapins are your go-to choices here. They're self-fertile, which means you only need one tree to get fruit, perfect if space is tight. Both are hardy, reliable, and can handle cold down to minus 25 degrees, which makes them an excellent pick for northern growers. Sweet cherries love sunlight and dislike wet roots. I can't stress that enough. Make sure your pot has proper drainage holes and use a light, well-draining mix so the soil never stays soggy. Think of them as divas who love a good drink but hate wet feet. In spring, you'll get a show of white blossoms that turn heads, followed by clusters of shiny red fruit. Watching those cherries ripen is one of those garden moments that makes all the care worth it. If you've got kids or neighbors around, be warned, you might need to guard your harvest. Now, plums are fascinating because they come with a split personality, and that's a good thing. You've got the sweet, juicy European plums like Mount Royal, and then you've got the wild, rugged American types like Toka, built to take serious cold. Both are delicious, but together they make your garden nearly frost-proof. European plums give you that smooth, rich flavor, perfect for fresh eating or making preserves. American plums, on the other hand, are your insurance policy against harsh winters. They're tougher, faster to adapt, and bring a unique tang to your fruit collection. If you're growing plums in pots, go with dwarf or semi-dwarf varieties, and keep the container about 20 inches wide. Place it somewhere sunny with good air circulation. These trees enjoy a little chill but hate being crowded. And here's your timing secret. Prune them in late winter, just before new growth starts. This keeps the shape neat, encourages healthy fruiting, and helps air move through the canopy, which means fewer pest issues. A well-kept plum tree is a quiet overachiever. One day you'll glance at it and realize it's covered in soft blossoms or heavy with purple fruit, and that's when you know you've got a winner. Now here's a tree most gardeners overlook, the quince. I call it the unsung hero of the cold garden. It's tough, aromatic, and elegant, yet somehow it never gets the attention it deserves. If you live in zones 4 to 8, this one's your secret weapon. Quince trees can handle temperatures down to minus 30 degrees, which makes them a dream for chilly climates. When spring comes, they burst into delicate pinkish-white blossoms that smell incredible, like a mix of apples and roses. And once those golden yellow fruits show up, your whole garden feels like it belongs in an old countryside orchard. The fruit itself isn't meant to be eaten straight from the branch. It's firm, a little tart, and that's what makes it perfect for jams, jellies, and preserves. The smell while it's cooking? Unbelievable. Your kitchen will smell like warm honey and spice. 2 great varieties to look out for are pineapple and Smyrna. They're reliable, cold-hardy, and pack that rich, old-fashioned flavor you just don't get in store-bought jams. If you're keeping it in a container, choose a medium-sized pot with good drainage and make sure it gets full sun. Once it matures, your quince tree will become that showpiece plant that surprises everyone, especially when they find out it's thriving in a cold backyard or balcony. Next up is a fruit that deserves way more love, the American persimmon. This tree is a native powerhouse, born to handle everything from harsh winters to hot summers. If you've never tasted one, imagine a flavor somewhere between a tomato and an apricot, with a creamy, custard-like texture when it's fully ripe. Now here's an important note. Skip the Japanese persimmons you usually see in stores. Those are lovely, but they're not built for the cold. The American species, though, they can shrug off temperatures as low as minus 30 degrees and keep growing strong. These trees are patient growers. They take a few years to bear fruit, but when they do, it's worth every second. The secret is to let the fruit soften naturally. When it's firm, it can taste bitter, but once it ripens and turns jelly soft, it becomes something else entirely. That's when it transforms into what I like to call nature's pudding. Plant it in full sun, keep the soil well drained, and just let it do its thing. It's a quiet, low-maintenance tree that rewards you with the most surprising dessert-like fruit every fall. Once you've tasted a fully ripe American persimmon, you'll wonder why you ever overlooked it. Here's a fruit that feels like it doesn't belong in cold weather, the American pawpaw. Just the name sounds tropical, right? You'd expect to find it somewhere sunny and humid, yet this native North American tree laughs at freezing winters. It can handle temperatures down to minus 30 degrees and still reward you with fruit that tastes like it came from the Caribbean. Now, describing the flavor of pawpaw is tricky because it's unlike anything else. The best way I can put it, think banana meets mango custard. Creamy, rich, and slightly tropical. It's like a vacation for your taste buds. The texture is soft and buttery, perfect for smoothies, ice cream, or just eating straight with a spoon. But here's something many beginners miss. You'll need at least 2 pawpaw trees for pollination. They're not self-fertile, so they rely on each other to produce that sweet custardy fruit. Place them within a few feet of each other, and you'll be set. Pawpaws prefer a bit of shade when they're young, then full sun once established. They're not in a rush to grow, but once they do, they become a true showpiece. Big, tropical-looking leaves, beautiful flowers in spring, and heavy clusters of fruit by late summer. It's one of those trees that makes your neighbors stop and ask, "Wait, you're growing what in this climate?" And that's exactly why I love it. Now let's talk about one of the toughest yet most elegant fruit trees out there, the serviceberry, also called the Juneberry. This tree is native to some of the coldest parts of North America, thriving even in zones as low as 2. That means it can survive temperatures dropping to minus 40 degrees. Yes, minus 40. But don't let its toughness fool you. It's also one of the most beautiful trees you can plant. In early spring, while the world is still waking up from winter, serviceberries burst into bloom with soft white flowers that look like something out of a watercolor painting. Those blossoms bring in bees and pollinators before most other trees even bud, which makes them perfect for starting the season right. And then comes the fruit. Small purple-blue berries that taste like a mix between blueberries and almonds. They're sweet, slightly nutty, and absolutely delicious fresh off the branch. You can eat them by the handful, bake them into pies, or turn them into jam if you can resist eating them all first. They're also fantastic for wildlife. Birds love them, and their early blossoms help feed pollinators coming out of hibernation. If you're gardening in a cold region, this is the ultimate northern fruit tree. Hardy, dependable, and easy on the eyes all year round. The serviceberry might not shout for attention, but it quietly becomes one of the most rewarding trees you'll ever grow. Now let's talk about one of the toughest yet most elegant fruit trees out there. The mulberry tree, the ultimate overachiever of the fruit world. If you've never grown one, you're in for a treat. These trees don't just produce fruit, they keep producing. The variety you'll want is the Illinois everbearing, and let me tell you, that name is not an exaggeration. It gives you berries for months on end, ripening gradually instead of all at once, so there's always something to pick. Mulberries are hardy down to minus 30 degrees, making them perfect for cold regions that still crave summer sweetness. The fruit looks a bit like a long blackberry, and the taste, Sweet, juicy, and just a little wild. Perfect for snacking, tossing into smoothies, or sharing with birds. Though, fair warning, once the birds find your tree, they'll probably move in. If you're growing it in a pot, pick a large container and stake the trunk well because the branches can grow fast and heavy. Give it full sun, water deeply but not too often, and you'll be rewarded with constant color and flavor. There's something nostalgic about a mulberry tree. It reminds people of old backyards, sticky fingers, and purple-stained smiles. It's simple, generous, and full of life, a true must-have for any fruit lover with limited space. Now let's move on to one of my favorite underrated fruits, the gooseberry. This little shrub might not look impressive at first, but once it settles in, it becomes a quiet powerhouse in your garden. Gooseberries thrive in cold climates, doing their best work in zones 3 to 8. If you want something low maintenance and dependable, start with Pax, which is nearly thornless and easy to handle, or Invicta, a hardy, heavy-yielding variety that can take the chill without flinching. They don't need full sun all day. In fact, they prefer a little break from harsh afternoon light. A partially shaded spot works wonders, especially in containers or along a fence line. Now here's something beginners often overlook. Gooseberries need chill hours during winter to produce well. Don't skip that natural cold dormancy. It's how the plant resets itself for a stronger fruiting season. Once spring returns, you'll get clusters of round, green to blush berries with a sweet, tart flavor that makes your mouth water. They're fantastic eaten fresh, baked into tarts, or turned into jam. And if you're growing multiple cold hardy fruits together, gooseberries are the perfect companion. They quietly fill the gaps while the bigger trees take their time. Simple, reliable, and a bit tangy, the gooseberry proves that good things really do come in small packages. Now, who doesn't love raspberries? They're bright, juicy, and taste like summer in a handful. The best part is they're one of the easiest fruits you can grow, and they thrive even in serious cold. Most varieties can handle minus 25 degrees without any problem, which makes them perfect for zones 3 through 8. If you're short on space, raspberries are your best friend. They do beautifully in pots, raised beds, or even along narrow balcony rails. They grow in canes, so you can guide them upward with a small trellis or railing to save floor space. When it comes to varieties, red raspberries are the classic pick, sweet and bright, while black raspberries have that deeper, richer flavor and a bit more personality. Both types love full sun and slightly acidic soil, but here's the key. They like consistent moisture, not soggy feet. Water deeply once or twice a week and you'll have happy canes. One small heads up, raspberries spread fast. They'll send out runners that pop up wherever they feel like it, but that's easy to manage. Just trim them each spring to keep your plants contained and productive. The reward? Bowl after bowl of fresh berries from midsummer onward. You can freeze them, blend them, or just eat them right off the plant, which, let's be honest, is exactly what most of us do. There's something about picking raspberries straight from your own garden that never gets old. Next up is a bit of a hidden gem, the worcesterberry. You don't see it often, and that's a shame because this hybrid of gooseberry and blackcurrant is both tough and rewarding. It's built for colder zones, anywhere between 3 and 7, and it can handle frosty mornings like a pro.
The fruit is small, dark, and rich in flavor, somewhere between the tartness of a gooseberry and the depth of a currant. It's perfect for making jams, chutneys, or just enjoying fresh, if you like a bit of zing. Now, I'll be honest, the worcesterberry isn't as polite as a blueberry bush. It's got a few spikes, so wear gloves when you prune or harvest. But it's also very forgiving and shade tolerant, which makes it ideal for spots in your garden where other fruit trees might struggle. One simple trick to make your life easier, train it along a fence or a trellis. This keeps it tidy, makes pruning much simpler, and gives the branches room to breathe. Once the berries ripen, you'll notice the color shift, deep purple, almost black, and that's your cue they're ready. This plant might not have the fame of raspberries or strawberries, but it's one of those reliable, quietly productive shrubs that delivers year after year. Once you try growing it, you'll wonder how it stayed off your radar for so long. Let's wrap up our tree lineup with one that brings pure sunshine to the cold garden, the apricot. These little golden fruits have a sweetness that feels like summer itself, and believe it or not, you can grow them even in frosty climates.
Varieties like Hargrand, Westcott, and Goldcott are your best bet. They're late bloomers, which means they avoid that sneaky late spring frost that ruins so many early flowering trees. When everything else in your garden is still waking up, these apricots are just getting started. The fruit has that perfect balance of smooth, sweet flesh with a gentle tang, bright orange and soft when ripe. Fresh off the tree, they're juicy and fragrant, but they also dry beautifully for snacks or baking. In containers, apricots do well as long as they get plenty of sunlight, at least 6 hours a day. They love warmth, but the secret is protecting them when the temperature drops unexpectedly. If you get a sudden cold snap or late frost, just drape a light fleece or frost cloth over the tree overnight. It's a small effort that makes a big difference. The first time you pick your own apricot from a pot on your patio, you'll understand why so many gardeners fall in love with this fruit. It's proof that even in the coldest places, you can still grow something that tastes like sunshine. And now for the twist you probably didn't see coming, the Blacktail Mountain Watermelon. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, watermelon in a cold garden? But this variety changes the game. It was actually bred for shorter seasons, so it thrives where other melons give up. This little powerhouse matures in just 70 to 80 days and doesn't mind cool nights one bit. That means if you start your seeds indoors while winter's still hanging around, then move them outside once the frost is gone, you'll be slicing into your own sweet, crisp watermelon by midsummer. The fruits are small, around 2 to 5 kilograms, but packed with flavor. Deep red flesh, thin rind, and that classic summer sweetness you can't resist. And because they're smaller, they're perfect for raised beds, containers, or compact garden spaces. Give them full sun, well-draining soil, and a bit of support to keep the vines tidy. The reward is incredible. Juicy, homegrown watermelon, even if you live somewhere with short summers. It's the perfect way to end your season, sitting outside, biting into a chilled slice of watermelon you grew yourself, knowing your cold climate garden produced fruit from snow to sunshine. If you've got your own tricks for overwintering fruit trees or getting better yields, drop them in the comments. I read every one, and who knows, I might feature your idea in the next video. So there you have it, 15 cold-hardy fruit trees and one bonus variety that prove you can grow fresh fruit all year, no matter how small your space or how cold your winters get. From apples tough enough to survive a snowstorm to pawpaws that taste like tropical custard, you've now got a list of winners ready to thrive right at home. If you picked up even one new idea today, do me a favor, tap that like button so more gardeners can find this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss the weekly growing hacks I share right here. Thanks for watching, my friend. Stay warm, stay growing, and I'll see you in the next one.